Cake Mom here, and I am super excited to show this to you. This little flower tin, it's a limited edition mix from my 28 Lilac Lane line, and it comes just like this. And just so you know, this is limited, which means they're only making a few of them, and you have to get them directly from Buttons Galore and More. I'll put a link in there. But here's what it is. We've got all kinds of little buttons in berry and a pretty green and some nice dark blue. And then we've got golden sequins, blue and white beads. Trust me on the white beads, you'll see when I start playing with it. And we've got a couple of charms, some flowers and a leaf. And then my favorite part here in the middle, this great big, and if you don't want this here, you can just cut that shank right off. But look at this big, beautiful wooden button with the flower. You could paint this, you could alter it, you could leave it as it is. So many fun things. So I'm going to play around with this here so you can see all of the fun things that you can do with this. First thing I want to do with my kit, I had this idea. Here's a heart. I just cut this out of pattern paper. Just used my scissors and cut it out. The first thing I'm going to do is glue this down, and I could actually use either side, but I like the side with the white here. And this is one of my favorite things to do. If you have a die cut machine, use a die cut. If you have die cuts or punches you want to use, that's great too. I just cut this right out, and then I stamped thank you on a strip of paper. You can see I stamped it on both sides. I'm using the side I prefer. And I'm going to place this like so. I'm just going to put a little bit there to mark where I'm wanting this. And like so, just place it down nice and firmly. And this gives us the base of our card. So the paper layering is done. I like a nice strong design when I'm going to be working with embellishments. And you can see I've been playing with, I haven't actually used any of them yet, but I've been playing with moving them around. And I've also been playing with, so here I've got two of this particular charm. And on the one I cut off the loop because I was wanting to use it and layer it up, and you can absolutely do that if you have little wire cutters, or like I have this strong little pair here. If you have some kind of tool that you can use, maybe raid the garage. I'm playing around. This button is wood, so it's a little harder to de-shank it. There is an actual tool for that. If you think you're going to do a lot of this, then I would maybe suggest that, but otherwise, like these are really super strong little shears here. I'm just gonna cut that off and just kind of give it a good, there we go. And yes, this makes a bit of a mess, but it'll clean up just fine. And I can just tap off any gunk there. Oh, I just love this. Look at this button. This button is so pretty. And then I wanted to do this and this, and then put a few little buttons and things. I can see that I absolutely am going to love this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some perfect paper adhesive here, and I am just going to open it up, and then I am going to squirt it along here, making an extra amount there in the middle where I'm going to put this big button. I just need to make sure there's enough on those spots that they'll really stick, and then I can just play. There's a lot of fun little buttons and things in here. We're really going to be able to play and have a lot of fun with this. And if you feel like there's not quite enough, add a little more, because this matte finish PPA will dry invisible, and it is the glue I definitely recommend for this kind of a project. Then next up, I am going to sprinkle a few beads, and wherever there's glue, the beads are going to stick. I absolutely love how easy that is. Just sprinkle a few little beads. It'll stick. Oh, if I can get them to go in the spots where the glue is. You could use tweezers if you'd like. And then I'm just going to add a few more little buttons and some gold sequins. Love these sequins. These kind of matte finish gold sequins are so fantastic for so many projects because they're not over the top. They're not adding, too much shine, or they're not adding, like, they're not really super bold or flashy or like, neon lights kind of gold. They're just really soft, and I love that about them. And I will dot a little more adhesive. If you want a little more control, you could apply this with a paintbrush. for this project, I'm going to want to put a few more beads. I'm going to put a few beads over the top of those, and I'm not worrying about if they're blue or white, but over the top of those sequins, if I can get a hold of them. There we go. Onto there. And then I think I want a couple more buttons. I think I want, maybe not a brown button since we have that big, big, bold one, but I do think I'd like a little bit of a bigger button up here. Now, I could move everybody out of the way, or I could just put a nice little dollop of glue there. And by the way, if we get too much glue going, is it going to mess with our paper? Possibly. I don't think you're going to have a problem though. The only way you'd really have a problem is just if you kept going and going and going nonstop, then you might run into too much adhesive. But I think we're going to be just fine. And I'm going to take out some glitter glue. Let's see, what do I have? Mercury glass stickles, but gold glitter glue is what I want because I want to run a line around my heart like so. Just adding a little bit of dimension, adding that nice little touch there. And I'm going to go again because I want it double lines in some spots, a little thicker in other areas. I like doing a double line like this because then if for some reason you messed up somewhere, guess what? That is your forgiveness. That is going to get you forgiven. You're going to be just fine. Now, with that done, I think I want to extend a couple more gold sequins. Remember that our adhesive will dry clear and matte finish, so you're not going to see it once it's all the way dry. I'm going to put one right there, and it looks like there's enough there that that should stay. And I think I'd like to put one little button right here. I'm leaning towards the green ones, and as you can see, there's just, oh, or maybe berry. I mean, there's the green buttons in here, and the berry buttons are so, the navy. There's so many fun little buttons and things. Love playing with them. Okay, so here's one that I like. I like this, well, I like them all, but I like this little green button, and I think that plus one more little gold sequin. And it looks like that does have enough, so one little bead in the middle. And we're going to put one more bead and this card is done. Wasn't that fun? So this project is just the first. I'll do a couple here with the new kit. Whoops, and I picked up the bead already. So let me put the bead back down. Stay where you're supposed to be. And then a little white one right there. And one more little blue one. And we are good to go. This is a lot of fun. And I'm going to do one more project for you here on this video. Now it is back to school time here, and I've got a picture. This one's a couple years old, but it's my favorite of all the school pictures so far. So I want to make a frame for it, and what I have here is just a silver little frame, and I've trimmed the little picture down. Little silver frame, but the thing is, my kit, it's got a lot of gold in it. Here's a really quick and easy way to alter. Now we could paint this, but because it's metal, I think it'll work better if I just drizzle a little alcohol ink on here. And this is a brown alcohol ink. And then I'm just going to take a foam blending tool and I'm going to start working that in. And then what I will do is work with, I'm mostly working with browns here, but I think I could add a little bit of blue in. Basically all I'm trying to do really is to get rid of the silver hue that's going on here. So I will try a little bit of the denim blue. We'll see a few drops of that, what that looks like, and if I like adding a little bit of that color or not. Now you can do like I did here and directly apply. I'm actually really liking the blue, so I'm going to add a little more of that there, and then I'm going to come back in. This time I'm going to apply to the foam tool and dab on. You want to tap, you don't want to, if I pull, you can see how it removes the color. The good news about this is it means alcohol ink is incredibly forgiving. Your alcohol ink, as you go around and work it in, you can really get a lot of different looks going. I'm going to put a little more blue down here just to kind of match how there's a lot up there. Put a little more of the brown on here. We could add in blending solution if you want blending solution. You've got so many options. And this is only one. Like I said before, if you wanted, you could have used paint on this. There's not very many inks that would work, although like a permanent stays-on type ink could work. But this now gives us a base that is not so bright silver. It's got browns and blues in here, which is going to work perfectly with the golds, browns, blues, greens, and of course berry here in the kit. I let this dry for a minute just to make sure it was all nice and set. And now I've got PPA, the adhesive you most often see me using. And I'm going to cluster my embellishments down here at the bottom corner, at least to start with. And I'm going to start with larger buttons and things. Now, we can feel free to use as much liquid adhesive as we need. This will all dry completely clear and matte finish. I'm looking at adding a couple different things here. So what I'm going to want to do is just kind of take my time here and look over. Here's a flower button that I think is really cute, and place some of the larger items first. The larger first because it is a lot easier to add in smaller items later. So just taking, I love these greens, these blues, all these beautiful berry colors. Oh, here's a clear button. That'll work great. And then, okay, so I've got my buttons and I'm just deciding, do I want the leaf, do I want it up top or down below? I think I want it up top, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little more adhesive here. And remember, it's okay if there's a little bit of extra, don't worry about that, for a couple reasons. And then I'm going to come in with some gold sequins, and I'm just going to tuck these around. If you have some tweezers, sometimes that can be helpful to get them stuck in there right where you want them. Now, I have done these kinds of projects. I love decorating frames with buttons and sequins and beads and things because it customizes it fully for you. Whatever it is that you want, whatever look you like, however much you want to add, you can. And I just absolutely love that. For this one, I just want to do a corner. I don't want to do an entire frame. I don't feel like we could, but I just don't feel like for my picture and for what I'm doing here that I want to do that. I'm going to add one more small pink button over here. And you can also do like what I'm doing here, which is to add and layer on a little bit more here and there. I'm going to add a little bit more adhesive here and there because the next thing I'm going to do is start grabbing at the beads. And I'm working on a nonstick mat here, which is great because if any of these beads or anything really goes flying, they will be caught up in the mat, and what I can do is just scoop the mat up and put the mat back in without a problem. So I don't lose any beads. I do love my beads. Another great thing about this project is that you can do this with any of my kits or bottles. Anything you've got from the 28 Lilac Lane line is totally going to work. And I love that because I love showing you things that you can make work with anything, of course. I'm loving the back to school and the fall jewel tones here. And I'm loving that I've got a little picture of my eldest daughter to go on my desk. I hope you have liked these ideas. For even more, you can find me over on my blog. And of course, you can get this kit over at the Buttons Galore and More website. I'll throw a little link in there. If you have any questions, comments, things you'd like to see in the future, be sure to leave me a comment and I will see you next time.